Hey everybody, welcome to back to Bowling Lefty's channel. Just wanted to do a quick video here. As many of you have known, and I talked about that my first tournament of the year was going to be the True Amateur Tournaments, the Morongo Classic. So I went and participated in that on Saturday, and unfortunately, due to some circumstances, it was not a good tournament for me. The last couple weeks threw my back out a couple weeks ago, and so normally I've had this issue in the past and it hasn't bothered me with bowling. I can feel it, but I'm still able to bowl and do all right. After I thought my back was feeling better, I woke up one morning about a week before the tournament and numbness in about 80% of my left leg. So obviously I'm left-handed, so my slide foot is the right. But went to a chiropractor, started getting some work done, treating it with some cold packs. Still about 80% numbness in the left leg for a lot of the tournament, and I felt it. So one of those things I hate. I'm a big proponent of not giving up and not quitting or anything like that. But it was one of those I probably shouldn't have bowled. It was kind of I donated my money. And it was too bad because I was rolling the ball well. I was glad I was pain free, which was great. I was worried about that because I hadn't bowled since I threw my back out. Um, but man, you really notice it. And if any of you out there watching this have had the sciatica, the biggest problem is that when you're set up to bowl, is that when you go and you have that numbness in your foot, your right foot obviously is faster than your left foot. And so what was happening was that I was gliding. I was relocating to my right. So I was shifting to my right, which, I'm having to make up for that and try and figure out on the fly how to, because that's not the way I bowl. I'm very straight. I might adjust a couple boards with my feet, might move, but it's a natural movement. This was like it just felt like I kept drifting to the right every single shot I was throwing, which really hurt my spare shooting. So the first squat the first set I bowled, I only averaged, I think I was about 180, 185. So let's get into the oil pattern first before I even talk about scores, because scores were it was different. So let's talk. So many of you bowled the USBC Nationals pattern last year. So as you know, once you hit the end of the pattern, there's a distinct change. The ball starts moving right away. So a lot of people use that control ball. So let me just give you some of the stats of the USBC, the oil pattern for that, and then I'll go through what they told us about this pattern. So the USBC, and I'll just use the team pattern. The team pattern was 39 feet in length and volume was 28.84 milliliters. And then it was 2.04 to 1 ratio. So it's a pretty high ratio. The Masters, US Open, a lot of those are a 1-to-1 ratio, which means that the lower the ratio is to that number one, so like in this case, that 2.04 to 1 just depicts how flat the pattern is across the lane. The flatter the pattern is, the more difficult and challenging the shot is. And so like your USBC Masters, the Open, all those, US Open that the pros bowled on, is more on the lines of a 1-to-1 pattern, which means it's extremely flat. So let's get into the TAT Morongo. So this is the sheet that they give you. Okay, they don't give you the other one that shows the length of the lane. This one is just shows you what the oil looks like. So here we have a 42-foot oil pattern, so 3 feet longer than the USBC team. And we've got 29 milliliters, so very similar in oil total. And the only difference is, I know on this one, they didn't like the USBC, they use the oil called fire, which is supposed to burn up a lot quicker than the other that they have as ice. This one just said multi-tank, so I'm not sure which oil they used. Now the ratio, if you look at the ratio from the outside, from the 3 board to pretty much the 8 board on either side, was 3.67 to 1. So it's almost twice as easy as or twice as it's not as difficult, almost twice as much. So where that USBC is 2.04 to 1, this one is 3.67 to 1 on the same part of that lane. Now, the further inside you get from 8 board to about the 13 board, you're at a 2.46. And then directly in the middle of the lanes, you're looking at a 1.04 to 1 ratio. So it's extremely flat in the middle. Okay. So as we talked about earlier, your oil pattern is so vastly different. That's why you can set up, like I could go to my bowling alley, and then we have a sport shot league on Sundays, and I can go when they're bowling on that USBC team pattern. It'll play 10 times different than what it'll play on in South Point where I bowled at it. And that same pattern they put on last year will play even more different in Baton Rouge because of the lane difference, the topography, all kinds of things. It's kind of like golf. All kinds of differences come into play when you're talking about the oil patterns on a lane. This bowling alley, the second time I bowled at it, and to be honest with you, it had been completely redone since I had bowled there. It was a split house bowling alley. So you bowl one game, you move 4 or 5 lanes, bowl another one. We were on the other side. It was only 24 lane center, 3 people on a lane for a majority of the 2 squads that I bowled. So let's talk. So I was told right off the bat that, hey, the outside is out of bounds. And generally that's kind of the area I was expecting to play, pretty much the 3 to 7 board. I figure, okay, hey, that's my highest ratio. That's where I'm going to start, and that's where I'm going to play. That's my bread and butter. That's my A game. So I thought, okay, hey, I love playing 3 to 5. If I have to move in, I'm great at playing 6, 7, all the way into the 8 board, with, a little bit of miss room there. Well, the first few shots I throw, obviously, I don't feel comfortable with my legs, but I'm rolling the ball very well. I'm getting good roll on it, and the ball is just not doing anything. So I decide where I finally found some play, and it wasn't great play, because the straighter you are, the more you play in the middle, the less your carry, the worse your carry is going to be. So I started out with the mesmerize. Mesmerize didn't move at all. My speed, that was the one thing I did notice that was my biggest issue, was my speed was way too fast. I was, they have those little markers on these lanes that tell you how fast you're throwing, and it's closer to the back end where it showed I was at almost 17 the entire time. In reality, it was like probably 18 or 19, where I should have been around. The guys who were able to get the ball to move were about 14. So I was good 2 miles off in where I really, because my rev rate, everything was comparable to a lot of guys, and even higher than a lot of these people who were out there. So, but my ball choice, I ended up going to the Theorem, and it has by far the most hook of any ball that I have as far as the back end. So I was really hoping that I was playing it like I did the USBC, where I was just hoping to, once it hits the end of the pattern, it makes that move. And so unfortunately, it did not happen. So I ended up going inside. I played pretty much, I hung out in the 9-10 board area. And, my accuracy for the way my leg was, I was actually pretty pleased with it the first set. And it was just my spares were off. I did well on my spares. It was just a couple critical ones I missed. And I totally knew I drifted probably 3 to 5 boards, and then threw it, because I don't have a hooking spare ball, and I throw straight at them on the 7th side. And so a couple of the times it went in the left channel, because it was just, I drifted, still keeping my eyes on my same target. Obviously you're going to shoot it to the left. So my hand felt great. My release felt great. I was getting enough on the ball. It was just, it played, honestly, if any of you guys have played the shark or the bear, this reminded me a lot more of the bear pattern. It's like super long. I think the bear is almost like 50 feet, 52 feet, and the bowling lane's only like, I think 60 feet or something like that. So it literally, and everybody there was saying that, it's playing like a 50-foot pattern, even though it was only supposed to be 42. And it's obviously the lanes. I don't know what else it could have been. The guys were redoing the lanes. So there was, I bowled one squad on the fresh and one on the burn. And yeah, I mean, the scores weren't huge, especially on the fresh. The scores, they were obtainable, and I actually felt like I could had a shot. It's just I could not. I would hit the pocket and leave a 7 pin. Left a lot of 7 pins. A lot of if it, the problem was I had about an inch to an inch and a half of mistake room, and obviously I felt like I did pretty good trying to keep it there, but I would leave a lot of buckets. You know, if you're just off by a little bit, you blow past it. If your speed is off just a little bit, so it was really disappointing. Probably the worst I felt in a tournament as far as what, my, I just really wish I would have, you know, they later said that I could have just taken like a credit towards a future tournament. And I really wish I would have done that. So, um, which was too bad, but I was just so happy that I could even bowl because I'd been feeling so bad with my back, and I was really worried about my back with all these tournaments coming up. So I was really pleased that I was able to bowl. It's just the sciatic thing, they're telling me 4 to 6 weeks. So it's better. I am gonna bowl. I didn't bowl league last Tuesday. So my partner's out of town this week, so we are going to do a makeup on Thursday. So I gives me a few more days. I got another chiropractor visit coming up. But anyways, just wanted to give you that tournament update. So the first squad, I end up bowling 570, 560. I had a shot at a good 200 and opened in the 10th. The really cost me with a low count. So that really hurt that first series. The second series, honestly, because I was, compensating for what I was lacking with my left leg, my hip started hurting. It was just, I should have only bowled the 3 games and be like, hey, you know what, just kind of bowed out. But that's not who I am. I really push myself and try and finish what I start. And plus, it was about an hour away from where I was at, where I live. So I knew I wasn't going to go back out the next day. So I wanted to finish that. And then by the time the third game came around, obviously I hadn't bowled that many games in a long time. So just fatigue and just kind of over it. And so didn't bowl good at all the last series. Had probably one of my worst 3-game series I've had in a long time. And the one thing I did see, which I really was disappointed in myself that I didn't try, was the guy who qualified first. Actually, there were 2 700s that were bowled on my squad, the second one. And he was a lefty who bowled with me. He was a lefty and he was using the original gym, and just up the 3 board and came in nice slow speed. Didn't have more rev rate than I did. Maybe came around it on the side a little bit more than I did to get it to start faster coming in. But man, that was so frustrating because I really wish I would have started out there and just tried to get it to work with my speed and get it slowed down, because that's where I'm comfortable at. But I was hesitant to do that, and I had found a little bit of spot in the middle, so that's where I decided to play. And it didn't work out this time. If you watch the show, dude, I thought for sure the guy who was on my pair would be in the finals because he threw it fantastic. But you watch the show and it's like, man, you're amazed that some of these people make it, and you feel kind of embarrassed that you're like, dude, I suck compared to this. And I'm like, I'm a much better bowler than a lot of these people. But you can't think that way. It's like people get luck certain times and they bowl good, they find their right spot. So it's not about the quality of the bowler. Plus they did have, some of them had handicap, but it's about if your ball works or not, and if you're performing at the right level, and if you're making the necessary shots that you need to make in order to pass that round. I know my pro shop operator who drills my stuff, Matt Circle, he from Precision Point Pro Shops. I know he qualified, and he throws a good ball. And I thought he threw a much better ball than all the people who made the final. So I'd be interested to see, and I'll talk with him on Thursday probably, but just be interested to see what those finals were like, because there were several finals that took place. And congratulations to the guy who won it. He won $8,000. So for a lot of people, I didn't. The one thing I'll tell you, and I bowled my history with the TAT, and I might have said this in another video. So in the early 2000s, when the high rollers were big, but they were kind of getting ready to go away, True Amateur Tournaments comes out, and they start having these mega buck tournaments along with high roller. So I joined those in the early 2000s when they were at the Orleans. I bowled those there. So I believe it was like 2003 through 5. I bowled the True Amateur tournaments, cashed in a couple of the side events that they had. I never made it to the finals because honestly, that was one of the reasons why I stopped bowling. Is that those finals seemed to have a lot of like back in the day, like high roller. There were a lot of professional amateurs, guys who make so much money on those tournaments that there was no need for them to go pro because they were making more money at these amateur tournaments than they were on the pro tour. So the one thing I will say, since this is my first time back since 2000, I believe I did bowl it in like 2010 or 11, something like that. That was the last time I had bowled the big True Amateur in Vegas. I got to tell you, I was very pleased with the tournament. I have nothing negative to say about the tournament. It seemed very fair. They really keep a close eye, making sure that they don't have that same thing that was happening in the early 2000s with these professional amateurs coming in and really being dictators on this type of platform. So it does give myself, other bowlers, senior bowlers, it does, you stay in your own category while you bowl until you get to the finals. And I was really pleased with the format. The guy who runs it, forgive me, I don't remember his name. It's not Jamie McWilliams, which when I bowled the TAT, his dad was still running it. Now Jamie runs that. But the gentleman who runs the TAT Southwest region, excellent job. Very nice guy. Super smooth tournament. Super easy to get into. Brackets, mystery side pot or side pot, mystery score, progressive, all that stuff. The check-in process, super easy. Getting your money for brackets, all that stuff, super easy. Just a very well-run tournament, I will say. And to me, even though like being a higher average bowler, when you do bowl with like the ABT, I used to bowl the ABT as well, the Amateur Bowlers Tour out here in California, which that one you had different categories, but it was rigged. Like it was, you would come in with people and they'd be showing like a 170 average and they'd average like 220, 230, and you're like, come on, dude, this guy's much better bowler than a 170. So I really do give credit to the TAT people, and I would like to, tell everybody, hey, if you can bowl these TATs, go for it. It's excellent. If you win, they make you sit out a tournament so that it tries to level the playing field and give other people a shot. And it was level because like the guy who bowled the 700 series, I thought for sure, hey, you're definitely in the finals and there's a good chance you're going to win this thing because he had such a good look. But then it's just, you got to make it to the finals. So I just want to say, like, I have zero bad things to say about the TAT tournament that I bowled. It was excellent. I wish I would have been in better shape physically. I was so glad I was able to compete in it. I'm looking forward to competing in it again. And again, congratulations to the guys, because that's just like, as far as the sport of bowling, if you don't have to be a 200 bowler, a 190 bowler, you can be a 170, 180, and you can go to these tournaments where you're paired with people who with similar averages, and if you have a good day or you're hitting the spot, dude, you can win some money. So it was awesome to see that. I really thought it was a great tournament for the sport of bowling, and there should be more like it. And as a higher average bowler, a lot of times we complain that, oh, it shouldn't have any handicap. Well, they figured out how to do the handicap system fairly, I believe. So I really did appreciate it. I had a great time. Like I said, I just wish I was feeling better physically. And I was just so glad to get out and bowl again, since I hadn't been able to for a couple of weeks and was really worried with my back that I might be out for a little longer. So we'll keep working at this sciatic thing and get it worked out. I'm going to get back into bowling. Got a chiropractor appointment every week for the next few weeks. And because I got to get ready for my, and not develop any bad habits, but I got to get ready for my tournaments coming up in June. So anyways, my next video is going to be a special one that I'll give you guys hopefully later in the week. I'm going to do just a history of my life in bowling, how I got started. If you'd be interested in hearing that, I have some cool things that I'll talk about, my experiences, and how I got to where I am today with bowling and some of the other college sports that I played and stuff like that. And just some of the people who influenced me in my life here in California as far as my bowling life. So I think it's pretty enjoyable story that I'll be looking forward to sharing with you guys. Before I go, one last thing, let me show you the theorem. Since we're going to end it here, theorem's been out for a couple years, but let me show you how mine looks, so you can see it's going to look very similar to some of my other stuff. I mean, man, you can't really see it, but the track line is just worn into that thing from bowling with it this weekend, and it just, man, it was working hard for me. It just struggling. So anyways, here's my layout, typical. Okay, the pin, CG, and the mass bias, my thumb slug in there. Track theorem, I think one of the best tournament balls there is. So even though I didn't do very well this tournament, I got 3 more to go this season. So looking forward to it, and who knows what else might pop up. YouTube family, thank you. Please keep watching these videos, sending me comments. I started getting some comments finally. And tell people about it. If you think I'm putting out good stuff, let people know, and tell them to watch my videos, like and subscribe, send me messages, and appreciate your time. Have a great one.